And welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. The theme for this year is Living Everyday Wonder. And we have a new focus for the month of February, and it's inner peace, inner life, correction. The title of our talk today is Can I See God in Me? And it will be given by our fabulous spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. Please sit back and get comfortable as we officially open up our sacred service. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
Something within embraces the ocean. Something within melts into the shore. Something within stands still like a mountain. And we become one with them. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Something within cries out to the heavens. Something within belongs to the sea. Something within looks out in the desert. Because we are one with them. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Something within, in awe of an infant. Something within, in love with the stars. Something within is blooming in moonlight, because it is who we are. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Every day, every day, every day, wonder. Every day, every day, every day, one. Something with.
Oh, thank you so much, Leah, for that beautiful chant. Oh, that just sets the right tone to get things going. Please feel free to add to the chat any comments or prayer requests or celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. And now it's time for our meditation with Charlene.
Good morning, dear beloved community. How are you? It's good to see you all. And it is February, yay. So let's go within and just really anchor this topic this week, this inner life. And I just want to take you on a journey within. So go ahead and close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And just allow these singing bowls to just anchor yourself within. So we take a nice deep cleansing breath, just allowing any busyness to fall away. We allow ourselves to be right here, right now. And with your next deep breath, I would like you to, with your mind's eye, follow your breath into your diaphragm. Following your breath inside your being as you breathe in and out. Now, in your mind's eye, find that still small place inside the depth of your solar plexus. Just a little spark. Imagine it's there. That is the place of the Most High, the temple of the divine that lives within you. It's that place that when we get still, we know we are one. There's this God power right here in the center of our being. This power knows neither lack nor limitation. It hasn't been born and it shall not die. It knows no fear. It knows no sickness. It has never been harmed. Try to catch that feeling, the divine within us lives right here inside of us. Now take a moment and expand that small little spark of the divine so that it covers your whole beingness. You're in a bubble of the divine. It surrounds your whole body, extends beyond your body about 3 feet on all sides. As a baby in a womb, you live and move and have your being inside this divine spirit. It is in you and all around you. This protective bubble of love and light. Now imagine that it extends, joining as bubbles tend to do with other bubbles in your family, in your city, in your entire state. The United States itself and North America as a whole, and yes, the entire planet. Imagine this bubble merging with all the others and then encompassing this entire planet. Yes, we are one with the divine. It is in all of us and we are inside of it. Let's expand that bubble one more time and encompass the entire universe. Yes, beyond our solar system, to all the others, and all the galaxies, and all the... Just go. It's all one. We are in it, and it is inside of us. Infinite. Infinite power, infinite creativity, infinite beingness. Our lives are infinite, full of blessings and riches. All we need to do is become aware of it. And so I would love for us to return to the space in which we are right now, where our feet are right on the floor, wherever our bodies meet the thing that we're resting upon, knowing that at any time we can choose to go back to that idea because it is the truth about our nature. We are infinite beings because we are one with the infinite spirit. And so with this knowingness, I simply welcome us all back into the room with a nice deep cleansing breath. I just simply say, and so it is. And now I'm going to stop sharing because we have Leah live and in living color.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
This
morning.
is by David Roth, and it's very simple. It invites us all to sing, so please do share. I am here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here the greater good of all, greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, greater good of all. One more time. We are here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all.
Thank you, Leah. That was so wonderful. I love it. Just swaying like I'm in church and hands up. All right. Thank you for that. So, welcome to February. So, February, as you know, it's got a lot going on. It's the shortest month, but there's so much going on. Now, the first thing that I think about when I think about February is just the time is just going. But the first thing I think about, I don't know about you, is yes, Black History Month. And then I think they gave us the shortest month. What's up with that? But it's just an internal joke of mine. The thing is that a lot of people believe that Black History Month they treat it like it starts with slavery, you know? I don't know when you were coming up in school. So, Black people were the descendants of the enslaved. I'm sorry, but I think we had a history before we were kidnapped and brought to... I'm just saying. So, technically, though, it is the annual celebration of the achievements of African Americans. And yes, it's the achievements of African Americans. However, it is other countries also celebrate Black history, including Canada and the UK. And so it's not just the American celebration. Since 1976, I have here, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. And so that's the kind of thing that we kind of want to put a lens or a focus on the contributions of the African Americans. And so, yeah, of course, this is a great thing to think about and to do, and not only in February, but really to bring conscious awareness of the contributions of my and our people all around the world. So shout out to Black History Month. What also is very important is this next thing. Have you heard of the Season for Nonviolence? This is a global grassroots campaign dedicated to raising awareness about the transformative power of nonviolence. Now, the two people who are known for being the embodiment of nonviolence are both Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. Now, when did this celebrate, or it's not really a celebration, it's like a focused set of days. It's 64 calendar days. Starts on January 30th, ends on April 4th. Now, why are those 2 days important? Well, Gandhi was assassinated on January 30th, and King was assassinated on April 4th. And so the number of days that span this time frame, 64 calendar days, each day, the global organization grassroots campaign, sets aside time to talk about how can we promote nonviolence. And so that's why they call it a season for nonviolence. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon, which cuts without wounding and ennobles the one who wields it. It is a sword that heals." And he also said, "I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality, I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Think about that. The starless midnight of racism, like that's the darkest you can get, right? You know, there's not a star in the sky and it's dark as night. Racism and war is what that feels like. But what does peace and brotherhood feel like? It feels like a bright daybreak. And we always talk about love is like the light. It does not argue with its opposite. It simply is more powerful and replaces it. And so that's what Martin Luther King Jr. is talking about. That love, unarmed truth. Like, I'm going to beat you with my truth. No. Unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. I love that. And not to be simply on Dr. Martin Luther King so much, but Mahatma Gandhi, the other side of this, the other side of the bookends of the Season for Nonviolence, says nonviolence is not a garment to be put on and off at will. Just think about that for a second. Its seat is in the heart, and it must be an inseparable part of our being. So no Sunday morning nonviolent, right? So it's Sunday, I'm not going to be violent today. Now let's talk about violence, really. I mean, what is it? I believe it's any time we are unkind and unloving. And I think it starts with ourselves. How many times have we, and I'm one of these too, being in my mind sometimes, if I'm feeling ungrounded, it's not a very friendly neighborhood. Let's just put it like that, right? Because the self-judging, always comparing, that part I can tell when I'm off my game, when I'm off my spiritual practice, when I start to other, first of all, when somebody's other, and then I make them better in my mind, and I'm not as good as. Or worse yet, when I other, and then I think I'm better than them. I mean, this is not good. This is not good. That's when I can tell myself, okay, Char, let's bring it back. Because what we're talking about is the inner life, the inner God. And if you don't like that word, I feel you. There's some stages of God, just understanding of that word, that can either trigger pushback or not. So if that word kind of messes with you a little bit, replace it. Replace it with spirit, infinite knowingness, power, life, love. All of these are synonyms. If it's Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, whatever name, that when you say it, it calls forth the benevolent presence of the power that is higher than our human consciousness, that is something that we evolve into as we grow in our spiritual understanding. Use that word. I heard of a guy who calls it Joe. I'm like, call it whatever you want to call it. Listen, I'm not here to judge. Just don't call it late is what I'm saying. So call it whatever you want to call it. And then just remember, when we remember that that's who we really are, it starts within. It's that inner journey I took you on during the meditation. So that journey in the meditation, I said there's a God power at the center of your being. And it knows no lack, no limitation, no sickness. No, it's never been hurt or harmed. And it has never known imperfection. So that is the truth about our very innermost being, that spirit within us. The spirit hasn't been born, it shall not die. We don't really know exactly what happens when it leaves this embodiment, because some people call us a meat suit. We're a meat suit. This meat suit is what's needed to move around on the planet Earth and interact with other meat suits but we really are spirit embodied in this suit, right? And then we just sort of bump up against each other, kind of like bumper cars do, and we call it living life. It's kind of fun, right? Unless you take it too seriously and believe a lot of the things that you see rather than the things that are true. Because whatever we can see is finite. Whatever we are inside, that's infinite. And a lot of times we get it a little bit backwards. We start to allow the external experience to define how we feel internally. But that's exactly backwards. We teach in this teaching, and it's ancient wisdom, that what you don't see, the invisible infinite, is more powerful than what you do see. And if you want to see it in the world, then you first believe it and see it inside. That is how you get the unseen into the seen. And this is just teachings, right? But it's not just the creative process using our minds to get stuff, because it sounds like that. What I just said sounds like, oh yeah, because that's how you get your Bugatti, just picking a car. Sure. But it's not limited to how you get stuff. Just because the infinite is inside of us, we have access to infinite power, infinite wealth, infinite love. That is the divine flow. It's not limited by all the stuff that we can create. If we do think that that's the case, then we'll never rise above the level of effects, of conditions, of what things look like. We are infinite then. We are infinite, boundless blessings. So we have boundless capabilities. And the true charge then for us is to become aware that we are infinite beings inside. We just are, because we're one with the divine, which is truly infinite. And we relax all that mental work that we do, and we become aware of these life blessings. And we awaken to the infinite nature of the divine, and we bring our full experience of the divine into our lives. So it's pretty much like, I'm thinking of the Matrix in my little example I'm going to show you. You know how in the first Matrix movie, 20 years ago or so, he goes in and he gets quiet at this point in the movie, and then he opens his eyes and says, "I know Kung Fu." It's my favorite part of the movie, because I feel like that. I feel like if we were just to sit still and become one, that there is something that will be shown to us that we're going to just know. We're going to just know. It's intuition. It's insight. It's a vision that we didn't have a minute ago. And we can't claim that we got there logically. It's just an inner knowing. And then when we get up, when we move around, it's as if we learned something that takes people months and years to learn. We've just learned that we are instruments of the divine, that we are divinely led, and things happen for us that we couldn't have planned if we tried. That is the Kung Fu. And so I just love that. We're really moving in, and we're moving through and having our beingness in the divine, which is a magical thing. And the more time we spend inside, the more we realize that God, the infinite, the divine spirit, is in the midst of us. And it's omnipotent. It's powerful beyond all knowing. And there's no opposing force that's attempting to control us. We don't have to walk around like ready to defend. Well, if they say it says in the Bible, if God is for you, well then what enemies? Who can be against you? And so it's really the idea that if I get still long enough to realize my oneness with the divine, then I move around and I know that I am held. I remember for years I have this practice, and I learned it from Reverend Michael Beckwith in Agape. And it was, don't move If you have a question, if you have a problem, sit down, go within, don't move until you know. And sometimes it's not in that one session. Sometimes I don't move for days. And by moving, I mean making big decisions. If I've got something going on and it's heartbreaking or terrifying or I have questions, I don't know what to do, the last thing I'm going to do is make a choice in that moment. Nope. I'm going to sit down and I'm not going to move until I know that I walk in the love of God. And when I know that, then my steps are blessed. I can trust that I could take my foot and put it out. And then when I put it down, there's going to be ground underneath it to hold me and to take me to that next step. But if I make moves out of fear, every move is going to be not the right one for me. So, although I can still learn from them, because God knows I've made plenty of moves out of fear, I can still learn from them. But the divine rightness of moves when you know you walk in the love of God, whoo, there's just something about that. You walk a little taller and you've got a smile and you're just, people can say what they want and they kind of, boop, they just kind of bounce off of your energy field because I'm walking in the love of God. And so that's what I'm talking about, the inner work that we do, that it's not that attractive, it's not that appealing, and if you have ADHD like I do, there's 100 other things that must be done as soon as you sit down. So you have to act like those things will be there. I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes have you done this? You sit down to meditate, all of a sudden everything itches. It's all right. That itch, it'll go away just like it came. It'll go away whether you scratch it or not. It's crazy how the mind will do all the things, but that's okay. Sitting down and going within. Because I am and you are individualized points. We are all individualized points in the creative consciousness of the absolute divine life. We're individual points. And universal intelligence has taken itself and individualized and plopped it right inside where you're at. Universal intelligence. Individualized and boop, right where you are. So, and even Ernest Holmes said, the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We are all one. It's outside of us and it's inside of us. The original thinker of life is finding itself in you, figuring out what it loves to do by way of you. So that creative spark, don't fight it. That's the divine being creative as itself in you. And people say, but what if I get a calling from God and I don't like it? I don't want to do it. I'm like, oh my, we need to have a discussion because, okay, so many points to make. If you hear a voice from God that tells you to do something you don't want to do, we should have a talk is all I'm saying, because to me, the God in us, it could come, I'm not going to judge how it comes to you. If it talks to you in a burning bush or something, I'm not going to judge that. But if it's not feeling like it's yours to do, then don't do it. That's the God in you. The intuition that says, don't go in there. That's the God in us. Intuition in us, talking to us. That second thought is conditioning. Yeah, but he's going to get his feelings hurt if I leave the elevator as soon as he got in it. I mean, I felt funny, but I'm going to stay there because I don't want to hurt his feelings. Well, that's our conditioning. So I'm telling you, listen to the God, the intuition that says get out. If it says get out of the elevator when that guy got in, listen. Don't fight it. This is why we're here. So if you have a creative urge, oh, I should write a book. I feel like I want to write a book, but I also think you are supposed to be an engineer. Oh, maybe I can write a book about engineering. I mean, if you find yourself hearing a voice that tells you something that you really don't want to do, check that voice. Maybe it's conditioning. And so that's it. You sit down, and I'm not going to tell you what's right for you. I'm already busy trying to figure myself out. So luckily, We're not in a teaching where we tell each other what our purposes are. But what we do is support every intuition you have, every idea you have, because we can tell and you can tell if it serves the highest good for all, if it's life-giving, if it makes you get out of your seat with a bit of a lilt in your step, if you feel more alive as a result of it, please go in that direction. That's life nudging you. Yes, do that. And there have been times that we have to slog. Sometimes you have to work hard, and that's life too. And so as we talked about before, it's chop wood, carry water, and listen to the divine, because it's always speaking. We are the creator of our own lives, and we are using the mind of God, which is the creative force of the universe. Imagine you're at the beach, and each of us, are all at the beach, lined up on the next to the water, and we each have an easel. We're painters. And we've got a little French beret on, and we've got our little palette, and we are going to paint. Now, what's the chances that we all paint the exact same thing? Right? We're not going to. Even if it's a sunset on the horizon with all the beautiful colors, and we all paint that quickly because it's fast, even that will be seen differently by each of us. Each of us, we have a life that is that canvas. And we get all of these paints and these tools like meditation and prayer and affirmations. And we get to paint on our canvas the exact picture that we want. And we know that we are part of this divine experience, and everybody contributes their part to this divine experience. And it's so awesome that we can share it with one another. I mean, everyone is creative in their own right. We would never go to someone else's canvas and say, oh, well, you did that wrong. And if we are tending to do that, then we want to catch ourselves. Remember, every time we go into the judging, putting other people up or down, just grab it back and go back within and say, okay. We are given power over our own lives. We don't alter the laws of nature, but we have so much freedom within those laws that we can do whatever we want. That's the paint on the canvas. And so individual expression is embraced by our community. We get to come together and love each other right where we are. And we also hold each other in our hearts so that we can create an environment where we can grow. Because growth is the goal. We always grow and moving and getting bigger and better from that which we already are. We're becoming more and more of that which we already are. This month is also, there's a book associated with this month. Some of you may like this. Radical Forgiveness. By Colin Tipping, and it says it's a revolutionary 5-stage process to heal relationships, let go of anger and blame, and find peace in any situation. Yes, sign me up. So go ahead and take notes on that one. And our final affirmation for the day is this. The gift within me is God. Sorry, the spirit. Gift, I like that too. The spirit within me is God. That spirit is perfect. And so I invite you to go within with me, join me as we go into prayer. I am one with the divine source that is all. And this source powers my very life and my very beingness. This is the source of my creativity, of my joy, of my abundance, and of all things that are good. And I know this to be true for myself, and I know this to be true for each and every one of our beloved members of our community and beyond. This divine spark that lives in each and every one of us, it moves, it has its being, it's growing. As our community grows, it's becoming more and more of itself in our lives, as our community grows, we embrace this growth, this unfoldment, this evolutionary path that we're on together. And I know in this feeling of wholeness and this oneness with the divine, I speak my word for people, those who are feeling any sense of lack, limitation, or sickness, that sense of being not so connected with the divine. I speak my word that right there, right where they are, that a realization is happening right now. That growing realization of the truth about their being, the wholeness that exists inside them. I speak my word for little Selena, who is sick right now. I just know that right where she is, her body is overcoming this appearance of dis-ease, and that every cell and organ and action of her being is rallying and organizing itself to reflect the divine pattern of the one that is within her. I speak my word for each and every one of her family members, that they too see her as whole, perfect, and already complete. That healing and revealing is happening right now through little Selena. And for every member of our community, I just know that all is well. Everything is unfolding according to the divine right action. And I'm so grateful to be able to be part of the witnessing of such unfoldment of divine spirit. And so with this truth and with this knowingness, I simply rest, releasing my word into the law that always says yes. It always returns back to me exactly what was spoken into it. And so I simply say, thank you, God. Thank you, life. And so it is. Ashe, Asheo. And Leah is up next.
All right, once again, thank you so much, Shar, for your light, for showing up as you are and being true to your call. I want to invite everyone to sing this song and remember that as you are, the divine is there. I can see the God in me, God in me. Yes, it's true, there's God in you, God in you. I can see the God in me, and I know I can see the God in me, God in me. Yes, it's true, there's God in you, God in you. I can see God in me, God in me. And oh no, I can see the God in me, God in me. Yes, it's true, there's God in you, God in you. I can see God in me, God in me. And I know, yeah, I can see God in me, God in me. Yes, it's true, it's God in you, God in you. I can see God in me, God in me. And I know I can see God in me, God in me. Yes, it's true, it's God in you, God in you. I can see God in me, God in me. And I know, and I know that God's in me.
Oh my goodness gracious. I have to tell you on this end, I have to make sure I don't unmute too soon because I was singing along. Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you so much, Leah. Oh, what a great way to start the month. Now's the time to bless the donations that are shared today at CSL Leesburg. You heard Charlene mention it. We believe in the law of circulation. We know as we give, so shall we receive. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone. Please look at our screen. There's so many different ways to give. It's easy to find a way that works just for you. And you can always go to our website and hit the donate button. We thank you so much for your support. Now, no matter how you're giving, take that donation either physically and mentally and just Join me as I place it over my heart and we say our affirmation of oneness, blessing our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. All right, folks, we have a couple announcements. So first of all, woo, congratulations to our 5 class participants. Yesterday, they showed off their final projects. They completed their participation in our class, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And I have to share with you a quote that Layla said when she was giving her presentation. She said, I almost feel like it's a brand new year, a different year. And it just made me chuckle because we were only on February 5th. But then I thought about the Lunar New Year. So it kind of fit right in. They are starting off with just wonderful, wonderful plans on how they're going to incorporate some of the spiritual practices that we talked about in class. And it was just an exciting adventure, a wonderful journey to take with them. All right, good stuff keeps coming. We had our annual leadership meeting on, I want to say January 30th. And we did a wonderful exercise that Charlene introduced us to, where we explored our personalities based on bird types. And then we talked about what kind of bird would we want? What kind of characteristics do we want for our president, our vice president, our secretary and treasurer? And that made it so much easier to select our board members, our board positions that we're going to hold for this coming year. So the wonderful Renee Steiner is going to be our president. I can hear you cheering. I am going to be the vice president / secretary, and the fabulous Larry. Oh, he's so good at this. He is going to continue to play the role of treasurer on our board. We also have 3 open positions. So just planning that thought, if you ever want to meet with us, join the Leadership Council, have a little more say as we plan out what we do here at CSL Leesburg, just let us know. All right, our next slide. As always, we have weekly offerings via Zoom. So if you like what you see on Sunday, what you hear when you join us online, join us on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock when Charlene leads the dream study. And I'm not able to join, but I do hear these wonderful things that they're doing. They're exploring their dreams. They're giving each other insight. They're helping each other interpret their dreams. Because when we're sleeping, we're not just doing, nothing. We're having all these wonderful dreams and getting these amazing messages sent that guide us and direct us. And sometimes it's nice to have friends helping you see the wisdom in your dreams. So that is on Tuesday mornings at 9. And on Wednesday evenings, we dive deeper. So at the end of our service, we always say that, what are some pearls? What did you get? What are the nuggets that resonated with you? Guys, you know me. I'm always taking my notes. I have tons of things. So we talk about that after service on Sunday, but on Wednesday, we get together and we rejoin, and we talk about what is really resonating with us, what is staying with us, what did we have from our service today that we're now putting into our practice, or what have you been thinking about and you got more insight, or you question and you want to talk about with others. Every single time I come to this on Wednesday, I know the folks who join us are going to agree. You always learn something. Maybe it's a new TV show. Maybe it's a new movie to check out. Maybe it's a book or 2 or 3 that others are talking about that just supports the message that we talked about and explored on Sunday. So join us if you can this Wednesday, and we'll take another look at, can I see the God in me? All right, guys, it's that time. So as we end our sacred time together, let us once again place our hands over our hearts. Just take a moment. Just recognize that God within you and say, I am love. Load yourself up. Go ahead. Let me hear you. I am love.
I am love.
Good. I can just see that battery that it's getting charged. It's filling up with love. Now look around you. It might be at a pet. It might be somebody in the room. It might be a son who happens to be with you today, a husband, a special one. Maybe it's a cat. Maybe it's a dog. Maybe you're just looking back at the screen. And join me as I say, you are love.
You are love.
Oh, guys, I love it. Thank you so much. I felt that. I really felt tingles. Now put your hands up in the air as we say, it's all love.
All love.
It's all love.
It's all love. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you can stay, we're going to share our pearls. If you can't and you have to start your day, just know that you are going